Hey everybody, it's your boy UltimateSpeedster and welcome back to another crispy Wizard101 video. In this video, I'm giving y'all the best beginner's guide of 2022 for Wizard101 players. From gardening, getting gold, farming, and all that epic goodness that y'all need to have a great Wizard101 experience. I've been playing the game for 10 years and I want to give y'all really good advice on what to do in game. Now you want to see more great content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell to keep up with the crispiest Wizard101 and Pirate 101 content. Now the first one I want to start off with is buying mounts in gold. I think this is a really good one that I mentioned it in my past guide. Now you can still get this in game. So what gold is in game currency. Like you don't have to pay actual real cash to get it. That's crowns. Crowns you have to actually spend real money on. Now this is really good. Now all you gotta do is go to the crown shop, go to mounts, and then scroll to the bottom, and then when you click on one of the mounts that we actually bought with gold, click on the gold tab, and then you'll be able to get it in gold. Now the gold's a little pricey if you're a very low level, but if somebody can take you to Winter Tusk, which is the second part of Grizzleheim, and farm gold with you, and you get certain pieces of gear and sell them in the bazaar, you'll make tons of gold very quickly, and so it shouldn't be an issue. Now the next tip I want to talk about is gardening in game. A lot of people do gardening because it gives you mega snacks for your pets, which you're gonna need, but people often forget it while they're beginning the game and they only do it like at the end of the game. So to make sure you're a high level gardener where you get all the spells to make your life easier to garden, I prefer you do it the early stages of your wizard or like the lower level of your wizard. So make sure you start gardening while you're questing, and then when you take a break from questing, you already have the quest of gardening that you can go ahead and complete rather than knowing it at the end and you'll be bored and waiting. Now the next tip I want to talk about is certain spells that you need to have when you're playing Wiz. Now if you're a deaf, you already have faint, and if you're an ice, you already get tower shield for free, and if you're a balance, you'll get reshuffle for free. So if you're one of those schools, you're already ahead of the game. But if you're not, you're like a fire like me, for example, I had to go out and use training points to buy faint and tower shield and reshuffle. You had to use your training points for that. And the reason I want you to get these spells specifically is because they are very beneficial later on down the line and while you're just questing in general or even just farming. Faint has one of the most powerful traps in game. Tower shields can be used to take damage from any type of spell, which is very good. And reshuffle can bring back all the cards in your deck that you already used up and keep you lasting longer into the fight. One of the next spells I think you can learn, which will be very valuable, is one of the elemental or spiritual blades you could get from Krakatopia or the balance school. Now, depending if you're life, myth, or death, I prefer the spiritual blades to go get. And if you're an elemental school such as fire, ice, or storm, go ahead and go for the elemental. So when you're blading up, you have an extra blade that you can use. Now later on when you hit like 50s to 80s, you want to invest into star spells and sun spells because they can help your wizard out tremendously. They can have damage buffs, they can have sharpened blade, which makes your blade have a higher addition of damage to it, and you have auras around you which increase your wizard strength as well. Like frenzy, for example, makes you have 40 outgoing damage, which is really good, but it has that benefit of having the 30, which is a disadvantage going into, so you take more damage in, but you're not taking that much in as you're producing out. So frenzy is very good, for example. But if you're a low level and you have a high level wizard friend, you can ask them if they can get TCs for you that are damage enchants, like gigantic or monstrous. If they can buy those for you and you can put them into your side deck or your treasure card section, then you'll be able to pass through the first arc very easily. You just put those onto your spells and you'll be doing tons of damage, basically like one-shotting them. And another tip I want to give out is that certain treasure cards I prefer buying, like tower shields I prefer buying, and obviously like damage enchants if you can are worth buying, but it's best to get a friend give them for you because you had to reach a certain level to even buy them for the damage enchant. So you have a high level friend on to buy them and trade them to you, so you can have those. But I prefer buying tower shields if you can't learn the spell right now. So when you're questing like by yourself, you can put the tower shield on and reduce the damage that's happening to you. Now what I talk about next are the side worlds. Side worlds consist of Wisteria and Grizzleheim. I prefer doing those worlds. People avoid Wisteria. I think it's a perfect and beautiful world, but if you do Wisteria, you're going to get some extra XP which can add on to you obviously leveling up and being ahead of the curve. But people avoid it because you don't get no spells from it. But I'll just say do it because for one, I think it's a nice break and relax, and it's a nice story going on with it, and plus you get extra experience from doing it. And also completing Grizzleheim. Grizzleheim needs to be completed for you to get certain spells and certain pets. So even if you don't enjoy it, like I really didn't enjoy it that much, make sure you get it done, and also get Winter Tusk done as well. Grizzleheim has a habit of calling you back and forth. You complete one zone at a certain level, then you can leave, then you come back at another level, complete another zone. So if you get those zones done and complete Grizzleheim, you'll be able to do your school quest later on. Now the next tip is to minimize your deck as possible. I have a very bad habit of making sure my deck has a lot of spells spells that I don't need, and I know I don't need, but that's the overthinking in me a little bit. So make sure you minimize your deck as much as possible. Have a few hits and have a few shields, have a few heals, whatever you're comfortable with. Make sure you take out as much as possible, because you want to make sure you pull as much as possible of what you need. The less items you have, the more likely you're gonna pull of what you need, like a hit or a shield or something like that. And my next tip is go to the bazaar. The bazaar is like basically like the market, the open market. People sell stuff there and other people could buy it. Kind of like a huge trading station almost. Now the reason I say go to the bazaar is because for when they have trading card there, they have decoration there for your house. They have lots and lots of gear there. So the reason I say this is because you might want to buy some gear other than farming for some gear for convenience sake. Like you might be able to find some very good gear. Let's say you're using 15 level gear and you're now level 20 and you want to find some level 20 gear. You can go to bazaar and they'll have options for you. So make sure you check the bazaar now and again to see what kind of gear you could buy and level up your stats. Now talking about stats, I want to talk about a couple things. For one, damage is very, very important. Make sure you have high damage, and also don't cheat your resist. Lots of people cheat their resist, and what I just learned from the latest world, that is not good to do, because resist is kind of forgotten about, and resist is basically like a percent factor of like taking off damage percent wise. It's basically a shield on your wizard all the time without you actually like casting it, if that makes sense. So make sure you have decent resist. Lots of people want to have pets with tons of damage, but they don't have pets with a little bit of resist in it. My pet has resist in it, and I'm glad it does, instead of getting like another damage, so I can make sure I'm well protected. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit about the pets, but since this is a beginner guide, you really don't need to know much about pets until you hit round arc 2, which is Celestia. Around that time, you'll start wanting to dabble into pets because the worlds become stronger and more difficult later on. But the first arc, the pet isn't really needed. That's really just basically a tutorial for you from Wizard City all the way to Dragonspire to make sure you get the handle of things. But when you make a pet later on, you want to make sure it has very good damage and a little bit of resist, like I said before. And you kind of want to customize it for your own. Some people want pets with critical. Some people want pets with certain make cast spells, like to heal them, like fairy or spirit or whatever. Now to level up your pet, you need to get your pet mega snacks, and mega snacks are given by gardening. Now the plants I prefer to use are couch potatoes and evil magma peas. Now you gotta level up in gardening for you even to use those. That's why I say use gardening beforehand or learn it beforehand so you can use it later on. Now with these tips, I hope it makes your life 10 times easier, and it'll make you understand what you need to do now. And if you enjoy content like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell to keep up with the crispiest Wizard101 and Pirate101 content, from giveaways to walkthroughs to reviews, from everything going on the channel. Now I appreciate you watch all the way to the end. Make sure you join the Twitter, Discord, and the TikTok, all down in the description below. Make sure you have a wonderful day. Peace.